Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. All right. So we've heard the news that President Joe Biden is not going to seek re-election in the 2024 presidential election. I was coming to this realization last night. I was watching some TikTok, and there's one particular channel I watch called Under the Desk News. The woman that runs that is a very good source, a very solid source of news. And she was stating that her understanding from her sources were that Biden was going to drop out this weekend. Could have happened on Saturday night or on the weekend. Anyways, I was not in a good mood after listening to her podcast. Part of it's just I didn't want to hear that, and the other part was it rang true, especially given all the public statements made by dozens of Democrats. One of my readings last night was on Adam Schiff, and why is he doing that? This is a bunch of BS. This is stuff that should be kept behind closed doors. You don't air your dirty laundry for everybody to see. But the fact that they felt confident enough to do this and then put in some tepid, but it's Biden's job, Biden's decision to make. I was hoping Biden would stay in there just to say F you to these guys. And then, when the new administration comes in, then you can hold them to task. But I did not sleep well last night because my brain would not turn off. It was rolling this thing over all night long. And even to the point where I know I have considered getting up and doing a reading just to try and clear my mind of it. But, my brother and I yesterday, when we recorded some videos that were going up this week for the Twin Tarot channel, both Gary and I were like, well, how many times do you want to read on Biden? Is he going to be in the election or not? I know people want to hear it, but, I don't want to do it every other day or once a week. It's too much. Kind of like the Trump health updates. I don't want to read on those all the time. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. So when I woke up this morning, early in the morning, I went to Google and I did a search on Joe Biden. Was there any news? There was no news. Okay, I was relieved. Got up, did another search, still no news. Okay, so I still held out hope that I was wrong and that he was going to stay in the race. And then Gary gave me a call an hour later and said that Biden had dropped out. And literally had just booted up my computer when he called. And, just dealing with the emotions of that. And it's not that, Biden's my guy and it's got to be Biden. It just doesn't seem fair. It doesn't seem just. It doesn't seem right. What's Biden's big crime again? I don't understand. He has done an incredible amount with the government, considering he has a tie in the Senate that's broken by the VP, and he doesn't have control of the House, at least for the last couple of years. Yet in these 4 years, and he barely had control of the House prior to that, and I don't think he had control of the Senate. Regardless of that, he's managed to get a lot of initiatives through. He's done a lot with the CHIPS Act and the Inflation Reduction Act and things along those lines. He's had some big legislative accomplishments. So what's his crime? Why is he not allowed to run? Because he had a lousy debate? Now, and I threw something about the community page. We don't know what's going on in the White House. We only see Biden when it's speeches and stuff like that. For all we know, he's aimlessly wandering into rooms and talking to invisible parrots in corners somewhere, filling up a drool cup. But if that were the case, that would be happening all the time. It would be really obvious for us to see it. You'd have a hard time hiding it. So I don't think that's really what's going on. In the end, I think it's just something as simple as Biden had a vision of helping the middle class and the lower classes by ensuring that corporations and the uber wealthy paid their fair share in taxes. And by doing that, a lot of programs could be financed. And the uber wealthy and the corporations don't want to pay their fair share. And look what's happened. All the corporate media going after Biden for a lousy debate. That's hardly the thing to impeach a president on. But they all piled on. And the hot rumor is that the wealthy donors are saying that they weren't going to supply the Democrats with any money so long as Joe Biden was on the presidential ticket. Which is probably the reason why Biden stepped down, was to uncork the cash flow. So money talks. For those that are angry, like me, it's say something like, well, I'm not going to vote for the Democrats, screw them. Unfortunately, our democracy is at stake. And you're going to have to hold your nose and vote blue. Even though you might feel that these people are traitors and they're unjust and all that stuff. We're going to have to do that anyways for this election to get the Democrats in power in order to ensure that Donald Trump doesn't get anywhere near the levers of power, because we will become an autocracy at that point. Now, once you've done that, keep a list of who's who. And you make sure that when it's primary time for that person that's on your list, that maybe you donate money or campaign efforts to their primary opponent. Or, you try and find, we need to primary some of these folks out. That should be their reward for their behaviors on this. And some might take years. Adam Schiff is not going to get my vote. He'll get my vote in this fall election, because I'm not going to vote for Steve Garvey. That's not happening. As a Democrat and a Giants fan, I'm not voting for Garvey. But when Adam Schiff comes up for re-election, if there's a Democratic opponent against him, I'm going to primary his butt for his support of the president. There was no reason for any of these Democrats to go public. They could have kept their dirty laundry behind closed doors and have those discussions behind closed doors. The other thing, Biden's made this announcement. These discussions should have been going on for weeks, coming up with a secession plan just in case this happened. And now the Democrats are scrambling. They've run out of time. It's the third week of July, for God's sake. In 2 weeks' time, you have your Democratic National Convention. You don't exactly have time to come up with some grand plan. This should have already been done. Bo, the Fifth Column, covered that yesterday or 2 days ago in a topic that he had on this. Not happy. Not happy at all with this situation. Biden endorsed Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris says she'll work to earn that endorsement. Other people's names will be thrown out there. The last thing we need is a hillbilly brawl on deciding who's going to be the Democratic presidential candidate. One thing that brings a little joy to my heart is that Kamala Harris is a cold-blooded assassin, and she would have no problem doing really, really hard-hearted things, shall we say. Doesn't seem to impact her at all. Stuff that Joe Biden would never be able to do, Kamala Harris will have no problem doing. So if you want a little bit of more ruthlessness in your Democrats, I guess this is our opportunity to have a little more ruthlessness in there. And given the current state of the GOP and what they stand for and what they represent, maybe you need a few more Kamala Harrises in there who don't have any F's to give about these people and their politics. She understands power and how to wield it. Not in a way that Biden could never understand. So I want to look at the current status of the Democratic Party with Biden's announcement, and we'll go from there. Okay. Entertainment purposes only, and I'm not entertained even a little bit by this. The Magician. This is an opportunity. Time to manifest. If the Democrats are going to do anything, this is their big opportunity. You fail at this, it's done. Congratulations, the great American experiment is over. Hope y'all are proud of yourselves. You're not even going to get the home version of the democracy game or your supply of rice-a-roni, the San Francisco treat. You will get nothing. A la, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory at the end. Good day, sir. The opportunity for this manifestation is brought to you by betrayal, by the Three of Swords. If you don't want to be betrayed by your own party, want to be backstabbed by those who you trusted the most, by the donors who supported you and you've worked with, all the 40 years you've been in Congress, congratulations. Omelets meet egg. Eggs meet omelet. Underneath it all is the world card. To this, we bring a close to democratic politics as we've known it. And now we have an opportunity. What's that opportunity going to be? Is this the end of democracy? Or is this the beginning of a new age? It's going to be the beginning of something, because this has been what happened with Biden has brought everything to a close. The United States, starting in 2025 and going forward, it's going to be a very different landscape. Things are irrevocably changed because of this event. Now it's just what you do with the magician. Do you bring it all together, or do you fumble this terribly and we kiss our democracy goodbye? In the past, you have the Six of Wands. Biden had his victory, and as president, he has had his victories. He has succeeded at all levels of government, from being a successful senator to a vice president to the president of the United States. He came out of frickin' retirement to be our champion to defeat Donald Trump in 2020. And this is the reward he gets for that. Current situation is the Ace of Cups. If you haven't watched my review on Jill Biden, I recommend you do that, because I stand with Jill on this one. This is going to be a very emotional time for the Democrats, for Jill Biden, for Joe Biden, for a bunch of us. You might notice that my tone is very neutral. It's not very animated like it normally is. This is what it sounds like when I'm pissed and I'm controlling my emotions. I'm not as pissed as I was earlier. I'm tamping down fear at this point. I'm not letting fear control me. But I'm not happy. I'm not even remotely happy with this. I think this is unfair and unjust, given everything that Biden has done for this country, given the tools that he was allowed to have. This is also David being really pissed off at Spirit, because I'm only allowed that little porthole view of what's going on in the world. And I don't see the big picture, so I don't see how this is so incredibly wonderful for the United States, that this fits God's perfect plan like that. Because from my perspective, this is a complete crap. I understand my view is myopic. I get it. But that doesn't mean I have to like it. Overarching energy is the Seven of Cups. It's about integrity. The Democrats are messaging saying, oh, Biden did the best thing for party. He put country over party, or country over politics. Yeah, that's a real nice way to frame it. It's also another way to frame it is y'all caved to your mega donors because you know you need money to win elections. And you betrayed the man who got you there. There's a silver lining, though, that somebody younger and more dynamic can be in there. And just because David has his opinions on what's just and what's not just, maybe this is better for Biden's health in the long run. Again, Biden was retired. He came out of retirement to save our butts. Now, in basically 6 months, he gets to retire again and spend the rest of his days with his lovely wife, his kids, especially Hunter, who needs him right now, and his grandkids. And his great-grandkids, if he has those. Go drive around in his Corvette. He can have Jill in the passenger seat, or Commander, don't care which. But the Democrats, when they are done with this, they need a thorough reevaluation of their morals and ethics. The lesson to be learned is the strength card. Now, when I did a reading after Biden's disastrous debate performance, I saw the Democrats circling the wagons, and a lot of people did circle the wagons around Joe Biden. And his poll numbers did not drop at all. Matter of fact, his poll numbers went up for whatever poll that is. I don't trust the polls anymore. Part of this is, the power play that the donors have, but it's now up to the Democrats to pull together, pass the torch on, and you better make the right choice because this country is depending on you making the right choice here. I mentioned underneath we had the world card. It's a new ending. An age coming to an end. The next card after the world card is the Fool card. The new journey beginning. This is a new journey for the Democrats. It could be foolish or it could be incredible. It all depends on the magician that they choose. Lesson to be learned. Spiritual lesson to be learned from this. All sorts of questions I could ask. How the Republicans going to react to this? What are the Democrats going to do? What are they going to do different? All that stuff can happen in later videos. What I want to know is, what's the spiritual lesson through this? Same thing I said. Why did Biden have to be sick? Biden got to see who his supporters were and who his frenemies were. Now, you can ask again, what is the spiritual lesson to learn from this? Six of Swords. Knowing when it's time to go. Knowing when you've done everything you can do and when to walk away. Life gives you a push. It's funny. When things aren't working, more and more resistances come up. And the more you fight them, the choppier things get until you finally go with where Spirit wants you to go. Funny about that whole free will thing. I thought the whole thing of us here was free will, but I guess not. I guess our free will is to try and stay in a situation we're comfortable with, and free will's like, or I should say Spirit's like, oh no, time for the next lesson. Don't care which, you don't want to, free will says you don't want to go? Okay, well, I'll just make things harder on you. Thanks. Guess when you're not wanted, right? Why is this looking like my frickin' first marriage, man? While he wasn't forced out, he got to choose when he was leaving. He got to choose to be kingmaker. He could have chosen to stay in the fight, but he could see the writing on the wall. With this, his time was up. He had a strong woman, a strong female presence, whether it's Jill Biden or Kamala Harris. He had somebody he could turn the reins over to so he could go off into the distance. Jill will take care of him physically, emotionally, and mentally. Kamala will do the rest for the country. Underneath it all, the Five of Swords. As much as he left on his own accord, this was a winner-takes-all thing. And he could have forced this issue. He could have forced himself on this ticket, knowing that he wasn't going to get the support he needed. Would he have won? I think so. But for right now, the forces that wanted him out, he's out. And Joe might have enough pride to say, okay, if I'm not wanted, I'll leave. I'll show you what a peaceful transfer of power looks like in case you've forgotten. Because Lord knows we've had that for hundreds of years up until 2020. Joe Biden knows when to leave, when he's no longer welcome, when his job is done. I hate saying no longer welcome, but for the folks with money, that was the case. Because how dare he? How dare he try to change things? Make them pay their fair share. Huh. I'm hoping Kamala makes them pay their fair share. We shall see.